Is it real or a nightmare? The decision is yours. But be careful, very few people have been able to listen to this story until the end. Hey folks. Name's Marcus. I'm about 30 years old, but man, I feel like I'm pushing 50. Born and raised in Detroit. My whole life's been nothing but stress and hustle. Lost my old man when I was just a kid. Dad was tough, hard as nails, but fair. Every morning I'd wake up and hug him tight, that's how I started my day. Hearing his voice at noon while working, that meant safety to me. But one day, he just wasn't there. I woke up one morning. Dad's body was home, but his life was gone. Mom's silence, the fear in my brother's eyes, it left me all alone. My little body trapped in this huge emptiness. Dad's absence was so big that I shrunk down trying to forget myself. When Dad died, everything at home fell apart. Mom aged overnight. With her small hands, she tried to carry both her own pain and our fears. My brothers were 6 and 8 years old. In their eyes, there was constant hunger, fear, and helplessness. As a kid who couldn't even protect himself, I was trying to keep them safe. But of course, I wasn't enough. Sometimes when Mom was sick in the evening, I'd walk around the house shaking. Boiling water, getting bread. There was nobody to find blankets for my brothers shivering from cold in that small room. My heart was breaking from pain. My helplessness mixed with rage. School couldn't be a refuge for me. While my friends played, I was always at home. Once I wanted to join a football game. I ran to get the ball. My friend yelled at me. "What are you doing here? You can't play ball," he said. That's when I understood, sometimes to survive, you gotta step back. But stepping back hurts your heart too. Anger was building up in my little heart. If Dad was next to me, maybe he'd give me strength. Maybe he'd love me, but he wasn't there. I got my first job at 14 at a small corner store. Waking up at 6 a.m., stocking shelves, listening to customers snap at me. The money I made was barely anything, but at least I could bring home a few bucks. The boss was harsh, couldn't even look him in the eye. Once I stocked the shelves wrong. The guy went off on me, slapped me, I hit the floor. I didn't understand why everyone treated me like this. But I had to learn. Because I had no choice but to bring bread home. One day while working at the store, this old man came in. He looked at me. Held my hands and said, "Son, life's hard but don't give up. Try to do what's right." That moment my eyes filled up. A spark of hope lit inside me. Maybe there was still good in the world, but that spark went out real quick. When I got home, Mom was sick in bed, my brothers were cold. Rent debt was piling up. That old man's words became useless against hunger and poverty. Days passed, months passed, years passed. I started working at the factory. Waking up at 6 a.m., mixing with the smell of oil, the sound of metal. But that place was a different world, where different rules applied. Foreman constantly yelling. Hitting me with a stick for every mistake. Even when I didn't mess up, I'd get chewed out. Sometimes I couldn't make sense of why they treated me like this. But I had to get used to getting beat. Because there was no other way to stay standing. Once a huge metal plate fell on me. Lucky I got away with scrapes. My foreman just looked at me, smiled and said, "Watch it, Marcus." That smile hit my face like something terrible. I was both scared and felt worthless. There I met two young guys like me. They were just like me. Poor, angry, and hopeless. During night shifts we'd sit side by side, smoke cigarettes, talk about our lives. Sometimes we'd laugh, sometimes we'd just go silent and sink into our own darkness. When I was with them, I felt warmth inside. But this warmth was short-lived. Desperation was showing us other paths. One night while smoking, someone said, "What if we went to cemeteries at night, took the gold teeth from freshly buried bodies and sold them? We'd make money." When I first heard it, I was disgusted. Made me sick. Does a man sink this low? But then I thought. Mom's medicine, my brother's school supplies, rent, bills, maybe there was no other way. Maybe desperation drives people to do such disgusting things. And that night, along with my fear, I said yes to those friends. But my life wasn't just limited to work and debt. As a kid, I'd sneak into neighbors' yards and steal tomatoes and peppers. I was ashamed, but hunger weighed heavy. Feel foreign anymore. Every slap, every scolding tore something inside me but also kept me alive. My friends, two young guys like me, poor, desperate and angry, opened a door for me. The cemetery. Joining them didn't make sense, but hunger and debt opened up the senselessness. There was fear inside me. Yes. I was both sinning and forced to do this to pay the debts. That night when we arrived at the cemetery, I shuddered but couldn't make a sound. My friends were looking at me, excited and mocking. I was trembling quietly. My heart had tightened, my lungs were squeezed. I prayed inside. "God, protect me," I was saying. But I knew even prayer wouldn't lighten the sin we were committing. Looking back, I realized how small events shaped me throughout my life. Stealing the neighbor's tomatoes and peppers, trying to separate my brothers, getting beaten, going hungry, all of it was memories of a path leading up to this dark night. It showed what a man like me could do when tested with debts and desperation. I'm Marcus. Ignorant, in debt, hungry. For my mom and brothers, no matter how dirty this job is, I'm gonna do it. Me, Jacob, and Tyler went out on those jobs together. Jacob was thin, quick, and talkative. Knew the streets well. Could quickly figure out how to solve things and say solutions out loud. Tyler, though, he was reckless. Couldn't hide his anger, loved danger. I trusted both of them because I had no other choice. They were down and out like me, but life had left them with a different kind of courage. My courage was shrinking inside fear. Their courage seemed like it would fill our stomachs. The first night I was scared. But we knew how it worked. Had to be quiet at the graveside. Had to hurry. Jacob would check the city's website for death notices, walk around cemeteries that day and monitor burial activities. Tyler would watch the surroundings while we dug up the grave. I'd dig the dirt with the shovel. Division of labor was simple and we learned fast. More like a survival system than teamwork. We'd take the dirt carefully, open the shroud cautiously, look at the corpse's mouth. My hands trembled the first few graves, but as we got used to it, we accepted it like a job. Besides, what good would a gold tooth in a dead person's mouth do anyway? The ones full of gold were lucky. Some had just one gold cap on a tooth, some had several. Pulling out gold teeth was disgusting, but our technique was simple. We'd carefully pull them from the roots with small tools and pliers. First tries we rushed. Tooth broke, wound opened. But after a few graves we found the right way. One night 3 graves, next night 5 graves, we mastered it faster than I could believe. It was like an art form. The cooler your head, the more you earn. Of course not every grave had gold teeth, but we could still find them in about 2 out of 5. We took the gold teeth to a jeweler at a nearby pawn shop. The jeweler was suspicious of us, but when he saw the gold, he minded his business. Didn't ask too many questions. After the first sale, we had cash in hand. I still can't forget that day. When I touched my pocket, my heart was beating like crazy. I calculated. I'd pay off the electric bill. Get mom's medicine. Pay rent. Cover my brother's school fees. That night when I got home, Mom was stirring soup in the kitchen. Her eyes were tired but there was relief on her face. I put the money on the table. Quietly went to my room. Mom counted it. Counted it again once or twice. Then went silent and watched me. That look in her eyes was indescribable. There was joy, guilt, and fear all at once. That moment I wanted to both cry and stay silent. The next day was different. My view of people changed. When a neighbor said hi on the street, I felt like answering. I was ashamed but at the same time proud. Jacob loved talking a lot. First thing with the money we made, he bought some clean clothes. Came over showing off in a brand new shirt. A silent agreement formed between us. More graves, more money, less worry. The worry didn't completely go away but it seemed to. Life's hardship had at least lightened. At home for a week, meals got variety. Potatoes, meat, fish. But still our stomachs were satisfied with various foods. Thank God I said, but when the work I did came to mind, I felt ashamed for a moment. When my brothers came back from school, there was curiosity and happiness on their faces. New notebooks, clean shoes. Mom was praying at night, I listened from behind the door. While praying, this sentence really hurt my heart: God, give Marcus strength, give him patience. He endures everything for his family. He works until late at night. Don't let him stray from the right path, she said. But the comfort that money brought wasn't just material. Human relationships changed too. Some acquaintances in the neighborhood started turning their eyes on us. The store owner must have been remembering my earlier state while sizing me up from the corner of his eye. This economic turn made me look different. Some of my peers were first surprised. Then started showing respect in a sneaky way. Days went by like this. Work sped up. Now I wouldn't wake up by force at night. Like I was doing a job, I'd go out for the night shift, make my money. I'd come home near morning. Something bad started coming with me inside. That was guilt. What we did in the dark sometimes kept me awake. One evening Mom couldn't hold back, you go out every night. Mashallah, you're earning well, son. What work do you do? Where do you work? She said. I couldn't look Mom in the eyes. If I told the truth, peace at home would be ruined. Mom would try to stop me. So I just said I'm working at the factory. My relationship with Jacob and Tyler moved to another level. They became my brothers now. At the same time my crime partners. Jacob was making plans. Better times, more productive grave sites, better connections with jewelers. Tyler was warm to riskier jobs. Opportunities outside the cemetery were being discussed now. But those first months were a rapid rise period for us. Debts closed. Meals at home got variety. My brother's future worries decreased. There was work fatigue but there was also a feeling of success. Success was maybe the strangest feeling. Because the success we achieved was the result of something bloody and guilty. With every earning, two feelings inside me mixed. One was joy, the other disgust. This contradiction really upset me. The night we went out to work, the weather was freezing cold. When we entered the cemetery, Jacob was leading with a flashlight in his hand. Finally we found the grave and dug it up. When we opened the head part of the shroud, we hoped to see an old face as expected. But when we opened that shroud, Tyler started screaming. What the hell is this? He threw himself back. Tyler was staring at the man's face like he was frozen. I didn't know what to do. The corpse's face was completely blackened. as if it had stood near fire and burned. Lips pulled back, teeth pushed forward. 2 gold teeth were visible in the mouth. But I couldn't approach and pull them out with pliers. Looking at Tyler, what the hell happened to this guy? I said. Tyler was saying prayers like, he must have suffered punishment in the grave, repent Bismillah. His eyes had popped out of their sockets. In fact, one of them came out of its socket and went down to his cheek. Blood had flowed from his ears and dried. His whole eye had turned pitch black and his mouth stayed open as if screaming. I started to open the shroud down to the waist area out of curiosity. At that moment I didn't know what to do. Calling out to Jacob, didn't this man die naturally? Did he have an accident? I said. Jacob too, what accident, bro? Today when they were burying him I approached the family. What was the cause of death? I asked. They said heart attack. I looked at Jacob in horror, the guy's all purple. Plus his bones looked broken. The skin was bunched up in places like it had been pulled and scraped off. I saw something else entirely different. Pulling Jacob and Tyler, look quick, look at his stomach, I said. Tyler said, repent Bismillah, let's get out of here, so I grabbed his arm. Jacob suddenly snapped out of it and lay down next to the guy. What are you doing, man? I tried to warn him but he didn't listen. There was a skewer stuck in the man's belly button. Jacob grabbed it and slowly started to pull. Then when he pulled it out, pitch black blood started gushing from the corpse's belly button. Tyler said, come on, let's finish this, forget about this stuff now. He took the pliers from my hand and approached the corpse's mouth. When he grabbed the tooth and started pulling, the corpse started screaming. At that moment we threw ourselves back with screams. What the hell is happening here? I started praying. Jacob was looking at and examining the skewer in his hand. Tyler had crouched in a corner crying. Grabbing Jacob, come on, let's get out of this grave, I said. But he was acting like he couldn't hear me. When he brought the skewer to his mouth, wait man, what are you doing? The Jacob started licking the black blood or whatever it was at the tip of the skewer. Why are you doing disgusting things? As I was about to take the skewer, he suddenly stabbed himself in the stomach. Then he started laughing. Turning to Tyler, come on, let's get this guy out of here. I'm gonna lose my mind, I said. Tyler came next to me and got hold of Jacob's arm. I got hold of his other arm and as we were about to leave, the flashlight in my hand suddenly went out. What happened? Tyler. When I called out, Tyler yelled, Tyler man, he moved. When the flashlight's beam suddenly came on, we couldn't see Jacob. The man whose arm we were holding had suddenly disappeared without us noticing. Looking at Tyler, where did he go now? I asked. Tyler said, I don't know, but let's get out of here right now. Suddenly sound started coming from inside the grave. When I held up the light, the grave was empty. The corpse was gone. It was there just a moment ago. I saw someone approaching the bottom of the grave. This was Jacob. He crouched on the ground by the grave and put his head between his hands. He was saying something like, forgive me, forgive me. I didn't know what to say. At that moment I felt a coolness on my back. Like someone was breathing. I slowly turned around. I turned the flashlight beam to the graves behind me. A shadow was standing behind the gravestone. I held the flashlight a bit more. What was standing there was the corpse. The same corpse. But now it was standing outside the grave. Its eyes were open. One of its eyes was hanging down and turning left and right. Jacob came to himself and turned to us. He calmly said, run. Save yourselves. Even though I said, come on, let's run, this time Tyler snapped out of it. As I was thinking how to handle both of them, the corpse took a step toward us. I started hitting both of their shoulders, arms, whatever. Thank God both of them came to. Looking at me they said, "Let's run." At that moment while running, I was going after them. But they were turning back and calling out to me, "Don't come, don't come." While I was running after them, my breath was being cut off but they were like running from me. The ground was slippery, the air ice cold. Tyler in front, Jacob staggering behind him. A moan came from behind. It was such a sound that it wasn't a human sound. Not woman, not man. Deep, thick, like it was rising from inside the earth. I looked back. In the flickering light of the flashlight, I saw a hand coming out of the grave. It was a rotten, pitch-black hand. Long nails, scratching the dirt. As the flashlight flickered, I noticed the hand coming out a bit more. Jacob stumbled and fell to the ground. I rushed to his side. Grabbed his arm. "Get up. We gotta run," I said. Jacob raised his head. His eyes looked at me in horror. "Marcus, this man told me something," he said. "What did he say?" I asked. Jacob was caressing the blood flowing from his stomach and bringing it to his tongue. "He wanted blood," he said. At that moment Tyler came running to our side and turned back. He pointed with his hand. "Look, he's coming there," he said. I turned the flashlight. Between the graves, with its shroud half open, the corpse was walking toward us. I forcibly lifted Jacob. We started running together. The cemetery exit appeared but when we got there, stones were piled behind the gate. Like someone had deliberately closed it. Tyler desperately tried to push the gate. I hit it with my shoulder. It didn't budge. Jacob behind us was still talking to himself. "Not my blood, take their blood," he was saying. Suddenly the flashlight went out and came back. At that moment I saw Jacob's face. I swear it didn't look human. His eyes had turned pitch black. He opened his lips, he was smiling. Tyler dropped to his knees in fear. Go away, Jacob, don't come," he yelled. But Jacob didn't speak. A thick voice came from his mouth. "You took the gold. Now I'll take my blood." When I heard that voice, I didn't know what to say. From Jacob's throat, it was like two people were talking at the same time. One was his voice, the other was another entity's voice. Jacob suddenly started walking toward me. "Stop right there, Jacob, what are you doing?" I said. He didn't answer. He fixed his eyes on me. "You dug. You opened. You'll be buried too." Tyler turned around screaming. Started running. Suddenly his nails had grown, his fingers had turned black. Tyler's eyes looked like they were going to pop out of their sockets. As I was trying to save him, the dirt suddenly stopped. I pulled Tyler out. He was out of breath. Jacob dropped to his knees. Put his hands on the ground. Raised his head. Looked at me. "This man," he said. Jacob's eyes were almost going to pop out. I mean, his eyes had grown so big. Tyler was still trying to pray in the back but words were getting tangled on his tongue. I couldn't understand what he was saying. Turning to Jacob, "Who is this man?" "Jacob," I said. Jacob's lips trembled. He shook his head side to side. This man was a sorcerer. Marcus, he dealt with Djinn. Before he died, he bound himself to them. He used his own corpse like a seal. The day he was buried, whoever touches his grave will take his place. Tyler yelled, "Repent Astigfirullah." Jacob fixed his eyes and continued talking. I saw all the spells he did. I saw his Djinn. Marcus, his eyes were open. It was like he wasn't dead. He looked at me. He smiled at me. He said to me, "You took my place." That moment my hand trembled. I thought the dirt was closing over me. I still hear his voice. "We did the wrong thing by opening that grave, Marcus. The Djinn were buried with him, chained. Now they're free." While Jacob was talking, at that moment the surroundings darkened. Like the night got one shade darker. The flashlight's beam slowly started to go out. A sound came from behind. Tyler started crying. He dropped to the ground on his knees. "Forgive us, God," he was saying. Jacob looked at me. He ran his hands over his face. "There's something inside me, Marcus. This isn't me," he said. Then he pressed his hand to his chest. At that moment he started vomiting blood in front of us. Tyler pulled back. I froze on him. That smell was such a smell that it was like a mix of rotten meat and burned hair. My nose bridge broke. Tears came from my eyes. Jacob looked into that liquid. Something small came wriggling out of it. It was hard to see, but it was moving. "What is that?" I said, but when I looked again I was horrified. What fell on the dirt was thousands of maggots. Right after, whispers multiplied around. Like everywhere in the cemetery, people were breathing in and out at the same time. Trees were swaying. The flashlight trembled. For a moment it flared up and I saw him. At the other end of the cemetery, that corpse was standing. The corpse we pulled out. He started yelling and talking. "Who disturbed my soil?" he said. Tyler screamed. "We did it without knowing, bro," he yelled. This man in a terrible tone said, "Those who sin unknowingly don't go unpunished either." He bent down to the ground. Grabbed the dirt with his hand. Jacob took a step back but couldn't move. The man raised his hand in the air. Jacob screamed. "Get me out. I'm burning," he said. I didn't know what to do. I grabbed the shovel, lunged forward. When I raised the shovel in the air, that corpse looked at me. "Don't. This is no longer your friend. He belongs to me," he said. I took one more step. At that moment I was flung to the ground. Blood came from my mouth. Jacob's scream stopped. There was silence for a moment. Jacob was lying on the ground motionless. I crawled to his side. Grabbed his shoulder. "Jacob," I said. His eyes slowly turned to me. "I'm here," he said, but the voice didn't come from his mouth, it came from the dirt. I pulled back in fear. This corpse was still standing there, watching me with his eyes. "I've been dead for 100 years. My name is Mansour. I made a pact with Djinn. I separated my soul from the body. They promised me immortality. I promised them a body. Now your friend has become my body." My knees trembled. "I don't understand what you're saying. What do you want from us?" I said. Mansour approached. My grave was disturbed. "Now one of you can't leave my soil." Tyler started yelling like he was crazy. "Take me, leave him," he was saying. Mansour said, "I don't take anyone. You come yourselves." At that moment Jacob started moving. He got up by himself. A wind blew. It was so strong that gravestones toppled over. I dropped to the ground. Put my head between my arms. When I opened my eyes, it was morning. Neither Tyler nor Jacob was beside me. It was so cold that I started walking while shivering. First I found the shovel on the ground. Its handle was broken. I took it and continued walking. At the cemetery exit I heard dogs barking. The morning call to prayer was being recited. My heart tightened. With the sound of the call to prayer, there was relief inside me. But one side of me was still scared. I was going to go home, but I couldn't stand it. First I decided to stop by Jacob's place. On the way I was muttering to myself, I wonder if they're alive. Maybe they also got saved like me, I was saying. It was around 9 a.m. in the morning. I had barely made it. I arrived at Jacob's house. I knocked on the door. His mother opened the door and looked at my face. "Come, Marcus. Jacob and Tyler just woke up. They're having breakfast," she said. When I went inside, Jacob was standing in front of me at the kitchen door. His clothes were spotless. His hair neat, no fear on his face. He looked at me smiling. "What's up, man, this early in the morning?" he said. My hand trembled. Words didn't come out of my mouth. "Jacob, you're alive," I said. Jacob frowned. "What are you talking about, man? Why wouldn't I be alive?" he said. From behind, Tyler's voice came. "Who's that at the door?" he asked. Tyler came to our side and I saw the tea glass in his hand. We made eye contact. Both of them alive and well. Like nothing happened last night. I didn't know what to do. I went inside. My hands were ice cold. "Didn't we go to the cemetery with you guys last night?" I said. They both looked at each other. Then turned to me. Tyler laughed. "What cemetery, man? We sat at the cafe last night. You didn't even call." Jacob also nodded his head. "You were acting weird yesterday, Marcus. You called in the evening. Your voice was weird too. Let's not go tonight. I feel uneasy," you said. So we didn't go. We went to the cafe from there. "Why are you asking now?" he said. I froze for a moment. I put my hands on my head. "No, I went. You guys were there too. We dug, we saw the corpse." I started coughing. Jacob took a step closer. Put his hand on my shoulder. "Are you okay, man? Did you lose your mind?" he said. Tyler from behind, "Obviously you went alone. You scared yourself in your head. We didn't go, Marcus. I swear we didn't go." My heart started beating. "But I saw you guys. Jacob, you had pliers in your hand. Tyler, you were praying. You were holding on to me. The dirt was pulling you." Before I could finish the sentences, I stopped. Both of them were looking weird. Jacob pulled a chair. "Sit, man, sit. Must have been a dream. Plus you haven't called since last night. You've been missing," he said. Tyler cut in. "Look, last night when I was going to the cafe, I passed by your house. I was gonna call you too. Your mom said Marcus didn't even come home, so I called by phone. Couldn't reach you either. I don't know what you did on your own, but obviously you went alone," he said. I put my head in my hands. Either I went crazy or you guys went crazy. That cemetery, that corpse, the sounds. Again my words were cut short. Because at that moment I saw something at the window. At the edge of the window there was something. Small, rusty, dark-colored skewer. It was familiar. That was the skewer Jacob stabbed in his stomach last night. I got up from my place. I slowly walked toward the window. My eyes filled up. The skewer was there. The strange markings on it were still visible. I was frozen on it. How can this be? I prayed. Jacob approached from behind me. "What happened? What are you looking at there?" he said. He turned and looked at my face. Then his eyes caught the skewer. For a moment his face went pale. "Who put that there?" he said. Tyler also approached. There was silence. The three of us were standing in front of the window looking at that skewer. When I saw that skewer there, my tongue was tied. Jacob and Tyler looked at each other. I just stayed locked on the window. This long thin rusty metal rod was the kind women use for knitting. But it was the thing I saw in Jacob's hand that night. When I stabbed it in his stomach, I still saw the black blood coming from his stomach. But now that skewer was at Jacob's house. Plus by the window. It was standing so ordinary that nobody would notice it. "Jacob, I didn't see it." "I swear I didn't see it," he said. Tyler approached and looked carefully. "Is this the skewer you saw at the cemetery yesterday?" he said. I nodded my head. "Yes," I said. "That night it was in the corpse's stomach." Then Jacob pulled it out. Stabbed it in his own stomach. "I don't understand how it got here." Silence fell. For minutes nobody spoke. Then Jacob sighed. "Let's go to a spiritual teacher. This isn't normal." The three of us that day went straight to the mosque imam in the neighborhood without waiting until noon. The imam was old. When he saw us, he stood up from his place. "What's the matter, sons?" he said. Jacob took out the skewer he had wrapped in a cloth. "Imam, we found this at home. There's a strange marking on it," he said. The imam looked at the skewer. His face fell. He put on his glasses and took it in his hand. He slowly turned it. He continued to stay silent. Then he took off his glasses. "Where did you find this symbol?" he asked. My heart was beating hard. "Imam, I found it at the cemetery," I said. I didn't tell the details of the job. After I threw it back there, the next day it came to the front of Jacob's house window, I said. The imam said, "This is grave business. This is soul business. Worse yet, this is black magic business." He touched the symbol on the skewer with his finger. "This marking is a binding chain. It's used when Djinn and souls are bound to each other. Only people who deal with magic use these kinds of seals. Either to protect someone or to trap a soul. This skewer was prepared by someone under possession before dying. The person who brought it has either unknowingly become part of that possession or is carrying that possession," he said. Tyler said in fear, "Please Imam, we didn't see anyone. We just found it at home in the morning." The Imam nodded his head. "One of you must have brought it. But the fact that you don't remember shows how big this thing is. Possession can even erase lived experiences. Someone carried this job that night," he said. Jacob put his hand on his forehead in fear. "I didn't bring it. I woke up at home in the morning. I was at the cafe with Tyler at night," he said. Eyes turned to me. I swallowed. "I also woke up at the cemetery in the morning, but I don't know how I got back," I said. The Imam silently nodded his head. "So the answer is there. Whoever brought this skewer, the possession is in them," he answered. Jacob suddenly remembered something. "Wait man. I had installed a camera on my house's kitchen window. It sees the yard. Maybe someone brought it from outside," he said. We all stood up with hope. The Imam came with us too. We went back to Jacob's house. He opened the small TV. Took out the recording device. "Let's look at last night," he said. The recordings were going fast. When he got to around 1 a.m., Jacob stopped. In the image the dark yard was visible. Everything was calm. Only with the wind's breeze, a plastic bag was swaying. Then the shadows moved. Something approached the kitchen window. The imam was watching silently. Tyler's breath was cut. The person in the image was holding something. He bent down under the window. He put that thing down. Then he turned his face around. Jacob stopped the image. The face in the image became clear. This was my face. I was putting the skewer there. At that moment my knees gave out. I collapsed into the chair. No, that wasn't me. I swear, I said. Jacob backed away. He looked at me with fear. Man, you were at the cemetery in the morning. So you brought it from there, he said. The imam hit his knees. There are two souls in this job. One is you, the other is the person who left the skewer there that night. I couldn't stand it. I told the imam everything we ate one by one. The imam beat himself. Oh my son, did you lose your mind, he said. I looked at the imam with regret. The imam turned to me. You brought that skewer but not by your own will, by his will, he said. There was a question stuck in my head. I had brought the skewer around 1 a.m. but what time did these events start? I couldn't make sense of it. Tyler said in fear, what's going to happen now, Imam? The imam stood up. We'll take it out but it's not easy. This is one of the deepest bonds between human and Djinn. The person who brought it is the carrier. Now we need to break that bond, he answered. That night we went to the imam's house and stayed there. The imam brought a copper basin. Filled it with water. Dripped a few drops of oil on it. Lit candles. Told all of us to put our hands at the edge of the water. He recited prayers, took out papers. At that moment the environment changed. The water in the basin started to move. A whirlpool formed in the middle. The imam closed his eyes. Lowered his voice. Who are you, he said. With a weak and feeble voice I said, I'm Marcus, Imam. He rolled his eyes and looked at me. Then Jacob slapped the back of my neck. This kid's an idiot, he said. The imam warned, be quiet, don't speak. A strange voice came from inside the water. It was almost like a whisper. He woke me up, it said. The imam pressed his hand on the water. Shapes formed on the water's surface. An eye, a mouth, then a face appeared. It was the corpse. Mansour. I saw that corpse's face in the water. The imam yelled. Be gone from here, he said. He started reciting prayers. His voice thundered. The candles went out one by one. The water in the basin swelled. In a moment, the water boiled and splashed out. At that moment, the smell of burned flesh spread throughout the room. I screamed. I felt heat on my back. Jacob and Tyler held me but I was shaking. My eyes went dark. After a while, there was silence. When I opened my eyes, the imam was looking at me. He was drenched in sweat. I took it out. Don't be afraid anymore. He didn't want to let you go but his power must remain, he said. I took a deep breath. My chest was burning. The imam continued to pray. Then he kissed my forehead. You paid the price for this job. Now don't touch this soil anymore. Quit these jobs. Repent for God's sake, he said. As the imam sent us outside, he pointed to the door's threshold with his hand. Don't bargain with the night again. Every sustenance is in the daylight, he said. The next day when the sun rose, we hit the road. All three of us were silent. The streets were empty. Bird sounds were echoing. After those terrible nights, for the first time my insides felt light. I went home and kissed my mom's hands. Her eyes filled up. Your face is smiling again, she said. I just said, it's over, Mom. Days passed. We don't talk about graves, death, or magic anymore. Jacob went back to his old foreman. Started working at the metalworking shop. The hammer suited his hands. When his voice mixed with the metal, forgetting the past became easy. Tyler found a job driving a truck. Started doing transportation out of the city. Seeing him on the roads put my mind at ease. I found work at a carpenter's place. The smell of wood, the sound of the saw, the day starting with the morning call to prayer. Man was becoming human again. We'd meet up sometimes, drink tea, sit quietly. None of us talked about that night. But we'd see the same thing in each other's eyes. We lived it, we saw it, we got saved. Although I experienced all the events, after I told them, my friends were also very affected. Like the event had entered their dreams, they had lived it. One evening on my way home from work, I stopped and looked at the sky. For the first time in a long time, there was peace in the sound of the wind, not fear. I smelled the earth, but this time it was a warm, clean smell. That's when I understood that all these events had truly ended. Still, sometimes at night before sleeping, I hear a voice. From very far away, a faint whisper. I can't understand what it says, but I recognize it. That voice doesn't mean me harm. It just reminds me. Man doesn't enter the soil. Soil enters man. Then there's silence and I wake up again with the morning call to prayer. Thank you for listening to my story.